I mean, in terms of my daily schedule, it varies also if I'm in like a growth mode or if I'm in a cool down mode, because I
Yeah.
genuinely do that throughout the course of the year and just for my own kind of mental health and my energy level.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm in ramp up mode, and I think that's what probably people would be most curious about. When I'm in ramp up mode, I go to waking up early. That's
Yeah.
my go-to. If you want to solve 90% of the problems in your business, wake up earlier and you'll be shocked how much it can improve. So
Yeah.
when I'm trying to ramp up, I kind of shift my morning wake up from, 7:30 with the kids because I got to get them up, do the stuff and get them to school and all that,
Yeah.
to 6:15.
Okay.
And so if I'm in a growth mode, I'll wake up at 6:15.
How long are you sleeping for?
It's got to be 8 hours. I'm the same way,
Okay.
right? Like, so
Yeah.
in bed, 10:15, 10:30. I
Yeah.
fall asleep right away. I'm very fortunate that way. I know some people toss and turn, man. I hit the pillow, I'm done.
I'm a tosser.
Oh, man. So when I'm in growth mode, I'm up at around 6:15, and depending on what cycle I'm in, whether or not I'm going to the gym or not, whatever I'm doing, I'm starting at 6:15. If it's work focused, then I just do that at that time for a couple of reasons. One, I just find I'm hyper focused. There's no distractions. There's no incoming messages. There's no incoming alerts. There's no kids around. There's nothing on TV. The wife's not up. Like, that is prime time. Like, what you can do in those 45 minutes to an hour are incredible. Like, the
It's like
difference.
3 hours during the daytime.
Yeah. And the beauty of it too is whatever outgoing messages you send and whatever work you do, you aren't going to hear back from it for about 3 to 4 hours.
You gotta put
And
in
that's
time.
really, really important,
Yeah.
because if you start at 2.5 hours later, all the messages you're sending and all the actions you're taking are immediately feeding back to you.
Yeah.
So you're kind of not
Or
able
getting
to
lost. Because now people are awake. Like when they're starting their day, you're the first thing at the top of their box.
Yeah, but like it's once you get stuck in kind of getting the feedback on it, like you're not able to progress through all of your work tasks. So if I'm having an optimal morning, maybe I get up at 6:15, I hammer through all of my morning stuff in the first hour. That takes me to 7:15, and it's amazing how then I'm up and alert and in full, hyperactivity mode, as opposed to like 7:30 stumbling out of bed, having to do the whole kid thing, and then having to send those messages out at 9:15, and immediately I'm getting inundated with all the responses,
Yeah.
as opposed to when I'm up early, I get all that stuff done, and then I have kind of a hour and a half window to get the kids out the door and do that stuff, and I'm primed for when those questions start coming back in. So that would be my first tip, and people struggle with it, but man, it'll change your life, and you don't have to do it overnight. Just every 2 days, get up 15 minutes earlier, and it's incredible what that'll do to change your efficiency.
I'm gonna say one comment. The reason I do my like I do the same thing. I do all those send outs, but I do them the night before, like that 2 hours. And you
Yeah.
know why? I found I couldn't consistently confirm how long I was gonna sleep for.
Right.
And so where I don't have that consistent sleep, then I'm like, crap. Like if I sleep until 10 and nothing's done, I'm screwed.
Well, this is a big thing for people who toss and turn, because when I'm ramping up, I get super busy, right? That's
Yeah.
the whole point of ramping up. So I send those out in the morning. That makes sure that you're on top of every single person that you're trying to hit up for business. So
Yeah.
I rely heavily on the Google kind of workspace, Gmail, the tasks, the calendar,
Yeah.
and all of that. So I use the tasks bar probably more than 99% of users. So I have, in our case, I've got all of my active deals in one task, all of my buyer clients in one task
Interesting.
list, all of my sellers in one task list, and then a to-do list.
Yeah.
And you can move people up and down. You can also delete them when you're completed them. So these are people you need to touch through the day. And you wake up every morning, it's so easy to touch those people.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
if you're just starting your day around 9 o'clock and then you start getting in this feedback loop of people asking questions,
It's hard to keep up.
you go 2 to 3 days without touching those people, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden that warm lead has turned cold. So I work through the task list, and then I work through the calendar, and I've increasingly relied on that calendar more heavily to
I
schedule
live by
things.
calendar.
Yeah, I mean, look at the fact that you and I are like, oh, we don't have any time at all, and yet we carve out 2 hours here to do this.
Yeah.
It's because two things: one, we calendar it, and two, I'm a big believer in accountability. So when I'm getting up in the morning there, in addition to sending out to my contacts, my leads, my business, I'm also reaching out to any accountability partners, which include staff admin, right? Like I get my list out to my assistants in the morning so that when they start their day, boom, it's right there.
Yeah.
I don't have to, like, that's another 15 half-hour conversation that I need to have some point in my morning with each one of them.
Yeah.
If I don't get it out until 9 o'clock, by getting it out before 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, boom, they wake up and they're into their workflow. They know what's on their agenda for the day.
Yeah.
But I'm huge on accountability, which is why you and I do so well. Like, we've gotten more accomplished in this. This is an idea that both of us had independently for how long, right? Like a long time, and
Years.
just took having one other person
Say, yeah, let's
to get
do it.
engaged with it. After that, with the calendar, you have to treat these appointments with respect. And it took me a long time to do this, because I would make these appointments in the calendar and then I'd break them, because I'm only accountable to myself. So I'm like, I put something in like, lead prospecting Friday at 11 a.m. And then someone says, hey, listen, I need to do a home inspection Friday at 10. I'm like, I'm there. And so the lead prospecting goes out. You have to be accountable to yourself, but the reality is that's very difficult. So by setting up partners,
very, very difficult when you're running a business and you have clients that you have to be. That's something that I struggle with. Is exactly the same. I have my things that are personal in there, like lead prospecting or doing things for the business, and then someone says I have an inspection on that time, and I'm like, I'll be there.
Exactly. So it becomes different when you build these accountable relationships in your life, be it to your assistants. Like if you book a team meeting,
Gotta be
that's
there.
other people that are accountable. Like you and I book this podcast, I'm accountable to you. I'm accountable to the other folks here.
Yeah.
Like I will be here.
Yeah.
Even with my wife, because one of the challenges is having a relationship when you're working 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
And so we have a standing appointment for lunch every Wednesday at noon. And so I don't miss it.
Yeah.
Right. And then once you can actually start building these things, and it's like having a gym accountability partner. If you want to go to the gym 3 times a week, get an accountability partner. You'll be there 3 times a week, and you'll push each other to get there earlier.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to wake up yourself, but man, if someone else is relying on you being there, you will wake up at that time. Exactly. That's the one main benefit of like a personal trainer. But then I've gotten a little bit better at appointment stacking. It's like, okay, well, if I know that Wednesday from 12 until 2, I've got a standing appointment, right? Even if it's just lunch.
Yeah.
Then I know, like, okay, that's a standing appointment. Also, maybe to pick up my kids and do something with them after school. Like, it's easy to stretch and stack those appointments once you start committing to the blocking and sticking with it. So those are the tools that I've used to kind of start balancing. And it's a constant struggle, which is why I mentioned,
when I was broke, I had rich habits. When I was broke, I had rich habits.